G'day everyone, Sean Cullinan here from SportsGeek, doing a bit of an interview series on something that just happened yesterday, Reveal Day. And I wanted to introduce to our guest. You can see him there in the corner. Welcome Josh.
G'day Sean, how you doing?
Good, thanks. So first of all, Josh Rowe, or at Josh Rowe, if you don't know him on Twitter. I've got Josh in here. He's a man of many titles, as you can see there from his Twitter bio. But yeah, he is a domain geek. But you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, and a bit about how you have some expertise to talk about this.
Yeah, well, I've been involved in kind of domain names for a long time in both Australia and globally. I think I registered my first domain name back in 1998, personally. But certainly was using the internet back from kind of early 92, where all these kind of weird and wonderful domain names existed. It's lots changed since kind of back then, back to 20 years ago, to what the domain name service looks like now. Back then it was all universities, but right now it's there are a lot of brands and other organisations getting on with domain names. But these days, it's for me, it's really about understanding what's happening in the local space. I'm a director of the Australian Domain Name Authority, but also I participate in a lot of the global operations with the ICANN organisation, which looks after the global internet and domain names.
So let's look into the main component. Oh, go back one. Yesterday was Reveal Day, and there's new TLDs. So for the people who aren't as geeky as us, first of all, what's a TLD?
TLD stands for top level domain name. So a good example of that is .com or .au or .biz, .uk for United Kingdom.
And so yesterday's Reveal Day, what was the big news in the tech space? Why is that a big thing for the internet?
Yeah, so for the first time in a long time, ICANN's opened up the top level domain name space to applications and basically said, hey, if you've got a good reason and a bit of cash, you can apply for a top level domain name. And there was 1,930 applications. And
so why would you go about getting one? So we're talking about having a .your name. So .apple is one of the ones that went and got it. .amazon. So why would a brand or why would anybody go and get a TLD?
Yeah, sure. So there's probably a few different reasons why people might want one. One is a brand might get it, like you suggested. So Apple to really in a way to market their products and services. Regions might get it. So the city of Melbourne has applied for .Melbourne, so it's about a geographic region. But also interests. So there's people there who are applying to represent certain interests. So maybe .movies or other names which really represent the community and our community of discussing something or using that from a digital perspective.
Yeah. So we saw people like .apple, .anz for banks, .amazon. But then we also saw a lot of brands, especially the social ones, didn't jump in. We didn't see .facebook, we didn't see .twitter. Is there anything being talked about on the interest net on why they didn't?
Yeah, so not sure about that. I mean, maybe they're waiting to see. There's going to be another round of domain names available to be purchased or applied for. But certainly we've seen some big brands apply for them. I mean, Google applied for 101 names, Amazon 76. But it's been quite interesting. LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, eBay all didn't apply for any at all. So maybe they don't think there's a few domain names. Maybe they're waiting to see what happens with others.
So does that mean it's going to be a bit of a new world from how the internet is sliced up? We see .app was the most contended top level domain, wasn't it? That there were so many people trying to get that domain, but .book, .career, I think there was .actor, .direct. There was a couple of .shop. There were people that were trying to secure that, I guess, that top level domain, and there's the idea that the .movie people can sell that to every single movie coming out. So it'll be, Star Wars .movie, You know, James Bond movie. Is that the idea behind that, to have these generic names?
Yeah, certainly. So, I mean, there'll be some people, some brands who've just purchased for their own use. So, .Apple maybe, .Google, so that they'll want to just use it for their own services. But there'll be some which open it up to the marketplace to buy names. So, .movie might be one of those where no longer will we see, Star Wars themovie.com. We'll just see Star Wars .movie.
Yep.
And so you could argue that would be easier to understand for consumers who are accessing that domain name. But certainly that's going to be probably the biggest challenge for all new top-level domain name holders, educating the marketplace. Because unless you've got some big marketing dollars, getting people to change from really what is the very popular .com names in Australia, .com.au, overseas, .co.uk, all these other top, second-level, top-level domain names, it's going to be a really big effort. And not only that, technical change to move from one domain name to another. So if you're one of these organisations in Australia who's got a new top-level domain name, if you want to change your email systems to support it, that's not insignificant. That actually costs a bit of money.
Yep. So one of the things here, obviously at SportsGeek, we're always looking at it from the world of sports, and there was a few. First of all, before we get into that, what's it cost? Should I go and get .sportsgeek?
You can if you want. It'll cost you. Now I've just lost the number. 185, 285, 185,000.
Thousand.
Which number was it?
I think 185,000 was what to have the rights to the name.
For the application fee only. Then it'll cost you $25,000 a year as a fee to ICANN, the global organisation. But that's before you even have any kind of domain name services behind it. And the going rate for that is $100,000 to $200,000 a year. So basically, let's talk it up as maybe $300,000 in your first year, and then maybe $100,000 to $150,000 every year after that to maintain this domain name.
Okay, so I might leave .sportsgeek there for the minute. Maybe in a couple of years' time we may apply for it, but it does come with significant cost. I guess is the main thing.
That's right.
And that's not you were just talking about the cost before. That's just the cost to get the name. That's not the cost to migrate a site to the new domain potentially if you're going to use it, or provision new sites off it, as well as then the marketing dollars potentially. If I wanted to start using .sportsgeek, I've got to go and tell people this is my new website, this is where to find me. Yes, you can obviously redirect and stuff, but people like Amex and that went and bought the domain, they've probably been using AmericanExpress.com or Amex.com for many years. Now they have to change all their marketing material, billboards and the like. So there's that cost as well. So again, what I was trying to get to was sports, and we picked through the list. It was on reveal day, and we saw a whole bunch of sports listed in Australia, the .AFL. 3 of the 4 major leagues, NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball. Looks like the Major League Soccer have got a bit of competition on their hands with 3 people applying for MLS. But then we also saw people apply for baseball. So Major League Baseball actually applied for baseball as well. Basketball, cricket, tennis, and soccer were also names that have some contention around them. How do you do you think this is a good play for sports? Do they need to have this kind of domain? What kind of use might they have of it, or is it purely a brand protection play in this case?
Well, I think any marketing manager looking at these new names would see it in part as brand protection, so making sure that someone else didn't get the name. I mean, for AFL, which stands for Australian Football League, there might have been the Armenian Football League, the American Football League, other names. So for them, they wanted to make sure they were the owner of .afl.
Well, for the instance, they don't have AFL.com at the moment. They've only got the AFL.com.au. So maybe that was some of the reasoning behind it.
Yeah, but then as far as using it goes, obviously there's issues in terms of transitioning users from say AFL.com.au to just .afl. But that's something that they may choose to do over time as part of like a rebranding activity. But I think there might be some cases where some brands just choose to hold it and not use it, but certainly there'll be others who choose to use it actively with all their other online media.
Yeah, so for instance, the NBA might start using their rather than going to like NBA.com/Lakers, it might be Lakers.NBA as an example of.
And and certainly there's same goes for a product. So you might get Apple advertising, iPad got Apple, or iPod got Apple, or whatever, without having to require to use the .com in the end.
So when are these going to? The reveal day was yesterday. When are these sites or when are these domain names going to be decided upon, and when might we start seeing them on the internet?
Yeah, so the CEO of ICANN said the earliest we could see names popping out would be the first quarter of 2013. And the reason for that timing is that all applications have to go through a rigorous assessment. So those 1,930 applications are applications, so it doesn't mean all of them will get through.
So does that mean they've paid their $185,000?
Yes, and that's the $185,000 basically goes to a lot to lawyers and independent experts to assess the applications.
Well, there's a gig you want. There's that much cash being thrown around just assessing the applications alone. So, and that, I guess that brings on. Is it just a bit of a way for ICANN to raise more money? Is a bit of a cynic?
I can say that the $185,000 is basically more cost recovery. So they've raised about $350 million off these applications, and they say they're going to put all that money in a separate budget and manage it only for the introduction of these new public domain names.
All right. Oh, well, gives us a bit of insight. Thank you very much, Josh, for joining us. Be interesting to see how this space develops going forward. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. Subscribe to more videos on SportsGeek HQ on YouTube, and go to sportsgeekhq.com to find us on the internet. Thanks a lot, Josh.
Cheers. Bye.